You funded your account in March or?
April 2nd, I think
Oh
was.
yeah, so pretty much a full 3 months. I love
Yeah, I
that.
mean, I put 10,000 and then I added 15,000 in early May. So my total investment is 25 and my current balance is around 28.
So
So
at
it's
least about 3,000 in profit.
3,000 in profit.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, Tom. What's your professional background?
I'm a healthcare finance guy. I'm expert on how Medicare and Medicaid set payment rates for hospitals.
Wow.
So I have hospital clients in New York. I worked in hospitals for 17 years first. Been doing this since 2001. I have a partner. We're very small. We have one person who we work with and a couple of others that we have strategic relationships with in terms of other firms. It's been working well for 21 years, 22. God, it's 23 years now.
23. Okay, you lose track when you're having fun, right?
Tell me about it.
You've been in this space for over 2 decades, and is it a business to where you've had to build your book of business, like actually had to?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, for me, it was, I don't know, I hate to call it easy, but I worked in hospitals for 17 years, built a bunch of relationships with other hospital finance people. Once I just made the decision to go for this, I called everybody that I knew. And for better or worse, or I always joke about saying that I pay a lot of people a lot of money to say nice things about me. But apparently my reputation in the industry was pretty good. They started hiring me to do projects. One thing led to another. I have a partner who's 6 years younger than me. I'll be 63 in August, just for the record. I have a partner that's 6 years younger than me who I've been working with since 1990. I convinced her to join me 6 months into starting this business. So we've been together since then.
34 years?
Yeah, a long time. So
yeah, I was born in 91. So, so you guys have been in partnership longer than I've been here on Earth, and that's amazing. So what do you feel like is the biggest like component or factor in a 30+ year business relationship?
Trust, honesty, openness. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. She's a glass half empty kind of woman. I've had a lot of convincing to do of her to lead her first of all, lead her into agreeing to join me, because I think we work extremely well together. And then once we were together, we had a couple of very large clients that were basically 90% of our business. What if you lose one? Long story short, we've been busy, pretty much keeping ourselves busy and building these other relationships where I'm able to sell some other skill sets that others have in order to share in income that they're basically doing the heavy lifting for. That's how we've built it. We don't kill ourselves. The best part for me, and I know you'll get this because I watched your videos, of course, before I decided to do this, is I have two girls that are 26 and 30 now. In 2001, they were little kids. And when I was working in hospitals, I was working crazy hours for good salaries. I was making a good living. But once I started the business, I had the flexibility to work when I wanted and how I wanted. And I was able to be in there, go to all of their activities, all of their events, and made a big difference. And grateful for the opportunities I've had in that regard to be able to see my kids. I coached one of my daughter's basketball teams, but went to everything that they had. And I think they're better for it. They appreciate me for it. And,
that's what I was going to ask, because my daughter's 5 years old, my son is 2 years old, and I've been with them every day, being able to go to practices and take them to school and things like that. How has that composite effect been for them? Like you said, you think they appreciate it? And
they're both doing well, successful. My older daughter is a VP at 30 years old, is a VP of marketing and digital strategy for a magazine, Lux magazine. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's okay. And my other daughter went to USC and is in California and works as a coordinator for the production companies owned by the Jonas Brothers.
Wow, that is amazing. I love to hear that. So, and I know you're proud. I can hear it in your voice.
Extremely and grateful, proud and grateful. Have wonderful relationships with both of them, and they have wonderful relationships with each other. They just celebrated my older daughter's 30th birthday in London. They took a trip that they just got back on. My wife is a tremendous mother to them too. So that's
amazing.
It's been a good thing.
Your business, kind of from years back, it puts you in a position to be able to be there for your children, your young kids, and watch them grow up and be a part of their lives on your terms, which is exactly what a lot of clients of mine now, that's what they want. They're maybe at the 40 years old or give or take, and they're wanting to claim their time back because they do have young kids in the same way. So for you, that wasn't necessarily the case for you. You didn't have that need or want. So what was your motivation for wanting to make passive income?
Well, my biggest motivation is to fund my retirement income when that time comes. As I said, I'll be 63 in August. I don't want to work forever, obviously. I probably work 30 to 35 hours a week now, which is not killing yourself. My partner's 6 years younger than me, and she's not ready to stop working.
Sure.
And we have someone that works for us that is in her early 60s and wants to keep working. I will not abandon their needs, even if I want to work. Even if I could probably stop working completely if I wanted to. Don't want to. I don't know if I ever will want to.
Yeah.
But my motivation right now is retirement income, or as I start to work less and make less through my business, not have to carve into whatever savings I have, and hopefully have something that will pay my bills going forward.
I love
So
it.
that's my biggest motivation.
So just supplementing your retirement income, making sure that you have, when you do well, if you were to ever stop working, then you would have enough income coming in to be able to pay for your expenses and the lifestyle that you would want to have.
Correct. My wife likes to spend money. So that's a motivation to be able to, not, knock on wood, we've done pretty well in our business. So
Sure.
I've never had to quote unquote budget expenditures per se.
Sure.
So it's more about, if you really want something, you get it.
Yeah.
And with my kids, I've been that way too. As I paid for their educations. College is very expensive, as you'll learn, especially USC.
Right. No, I know a little bit. I've got a few degrees myself, but I definitely know that it's going to continue to rise, and it's going to be something to make sure to be budgeting for. But it's funny, Tom, because I feel like I'm looking at myself 30 years from now, because you've had the life experience of understanding, okay, if I go into business for myself, if I'm able to create certain relationships that I can leverage to be able to create something valuable in the marketplace, then I'll be able to do the things that I want to do. I'll be able to spend time with my family and travel and not budget. When you said right now you're in a position, or sorry, you've never really been in a position where you've had to budget or kind of worry about those things. I completely understand that.
I don't have expensive taste myself. Yeah, I drive a Toyota.
For the most part, I don't really have that expensive taste. It's relative, right?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I like nice things, and nice things includes traveling, vacations without worrying about spending too much or whatever. I spend 3 weeks a year now in Florida during the winter because I'm tired of the cold. I rent a house there with a pool and 4 bedrooms or whatever. My partner and I did it together for 3 years. She doesn't want to do it again, but I'm doing the same house we did this year anyway. Yeah. Hopefully we'll have enough guests to fill it.
I love it. And so for you, have you tried anything else in the past for passive income, for something to supplement?
Mm-hmm. Yes, some successful and some not, like most. And as you've expressed yourself, I've had some bad failures, companies going bankrupt, one being a fraudulent thing. So, but
what industries?
Real estate and aerospace industry was like a company that built parts of airplanes and had consulting associated with aerospace, and they went belly up. I went for a real estate thing that was quick turnover of properties in Michigan, and that turned out to be fraudulent. So I have other things now. I have a couple of small investments in e-commerce companies. I'm dabbling also in mining and for crypto. What else? I've probably done more. I have some investments in movies.
Have those done well for you, or kind of a mixed bag, or?
Kind of a mixed bag. Some with, that I'm still counting on doing well, that have delayed significantly the results they were anticipating. Also, one other one was electricity, wind through
turbines.
Yeah, so that also is another one that's been delayed, promising to do provide some returns over the next year or two.
Yeah.
So nobody's like running away, like saying, like blowing me off when I reach out, and I reach out to these people often. So there's always a reason, whether it's good. Usually they're good reasons for the delays.
Sure.
But you live and learn and you move on. One thing I'm good at is not stressing over stuff out of my control.
Yeah, I can understand that. For you, then, how did you actually hear about us? Was there an ad or like a video that you saw that like really piqued your interest?
I was on Facebook and I looked at your videos from the minute I started watching you. Maybe subconsciously, I thought of myself 30 years ago. I don't know, but I was impressed with your personality, and you came across as being an honest guy. I felt very comfortable pursuing it from the start. I never had thought about foreign currency exchange before.
Yeah.
And when Gary explained it to me, it made sense to me. That's usually enough for me to make a decision. I want to pursue something in concept. Again, I was a little taken back by the magnitude of the fee, but I decided to go for it anyway, mostly because of the videos.
And that's, so for you, you weren't skeptical, you weren't really nervous. It was just like, oh, that's a pretty, relatively sizable fee in order to even see if this works. And then, but you at the end of the day were looking at what Gary had mentioned, what you've seen on demonstration, but also as far as other people that have had the experience as well. So that's ultimately what made you decide to join.
Pretty much. And because I was so, I guess, intrigued by the Forex thing, I actually joined two others. After you were the first one I joined. Okay. And then when I joined two others, the structures were a little different. The pairs of currencies that they trade are different. But again, in concept, it made sense to me. Their fees were much lower. They don't have a gain share. But nevertheless, at this point, after 3 months, your net return to me is the highest out of the three.
Well,
you're not surprised.
Oh, well, that's what we're here for, right? That's what we're here for. And you said net, right? That's what's most important. So that's minus fees and things, it's definitely something that we are proud of. And we know there's a kind of a thing. It's like, where you are in the marketplace, and we know there's competitors and things like that. And we could slash our prices in order to take some more market share or whatever. But it's like, no, we like where we're at right now. In our opinion, we're at the top, and we know what we provide to clients. We know that it's an actual personalized experience. We know just what we provide. So that's something that we're confident and comfortable with, being at the premier pricing that we have. With the setup process and kind of everything kind of getting started with you, who helped you? Was it David? Was it Julio?
It was David at first, over the first few discussions, and on via the Slack vehicle. Anytime I've had issues, or David or Julio have answered. I've spoken with Julio on a couple of times as well since then. They're great. Both of them are terrific. Nothing but praise for the personalization of the service. Better than the others, as you might have imagined. So I don't regret making the higher payment. I was a little, after I joined all three early on, I was wondering how that would end up. Should I have negotiated the 35,000 down more, or should I not? I didn't. So one of the things that I did talk with Gary about, and was that I told you I have two kids. I asked him, would it be possible to set up separate accounts with them for the same $35,000 fee? And he said yes. I haven't done that yet. I wanted to talk with you about that specifically, just to make sure you're on board with that, so I don't have to pay the $35,000 again, or even the reduced fees that were just advertised.
That is something that he did already kind of like ask us in real time about that specifically for your case. We did agree to it then, and we're not going to change that now.
That's terrific. I intend, right now, I'm a little cash poor, but, given, and I'm anal with this, so I look at this stuff every day. So I see the 10-cent gain here, the 20-cent gain there, the $2 gain there, and I see the way it adds up, and I'm totally bought in. So Gary suggested on average about 6% a month net. It's been about 4% so far net, but this month has been the best of all so far. So, but even if it's 4 or 5, whatever, I mean, that kind of percent every month is as good a return as you could ever expect in any investment. So I'm not going to nitpick his claim, but if it averages out over 5 years to 6% a month, that's awesome. I want to put my kids in that too, and I'm happy. I appreciate your living up to that discussion back then. So I'm sorry. What I plan to do is, once I anticipate some consulting fees over the next 2 or 3 months from contingency projects that we've done, that will put me in a position where I can materially increase my own account, and then maybe put like $5,000 in each of my kids' accounts, and showing them what they have and what I've experienced so far, and encourage them to add to it.
That makes total sense. And that's how I did with my family when I first got started as well, right? I just was like, let me not only show you as far as like these results, I'm going to actually pre-fund your account for you. You can see what your account is actually doing, and then they come behind as well and do that. So that was definitely the approach that I had, and it works. So then for you, you have the unique perspective of being able to compare to some of the other players that are in the space. What kind of, if you've seen net 4 or 5% with us, what is their kind of returns look like?
One of them in 3 months so far is about 7% in 3 months in total. And the other one is much lower. It's been like $300 so far on 20,000. So, but again, that one in particular, the customer service has been really good there too. And it's just that the returns haven't been there yet. They recognize that, and they still believe that over the course of a year, the average return, they think 8 to 12 on average per month. Time will tell. I paid $14,000 for each of them one time. Maybe it was 13,997 or 14,997. I don't remember. So obviously I'll let it play out. I'm not ready to increase my investments in those though, because your results are happening reasonably close to what Gary suggested they would be, and Julio, as a matter of fact.
And that, so it's, you funded your account in March or
April 2nd, I think was.
Oh yeah, so pretty much a full 3 months. I love that.
I mean, I put 10,000 and then I added 15,000 in early May. So my total investment is 25, and my current balance is around 28.
So at least about 3,000 in profit.
3,000 in profit, yeah.
Yeah, and then
so it's a little, probably, if you consider the timing of the investments, it's more than 4% a month. It's some 5, 6, whatever. It's probably closer to the 6 than I let on. But it's close. Again, I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm happy with the performance so far. I anticipate, hopefully for a long time, that it continues to grow for years. And when I'm 3 or 4 years from now, maybe I'll have something where I can just take monthly the income that it generates to live on.
And that's what this whole thing is designed for. It's a long-term thing. And for us, now, granted, the other two options can get you 8 to 12%, perhaps, but of course we can too. Our floor is what we're more proud of, is better typically. Mm-hmm. And our ceiling can be the same. And that's and then as well, the way that we do things, as far as you mentioned, kind of the pairs that we focus on. And we typically will focus on just the one pair. There may be a couple of others that are thrown in there every now and then, but we typically just focus on the Euro USD. And that's just because when you're a specialized person, you work with doctors and you work in hospital, or you have a healthcare background, you understand that the specialists, those are typically the ones that get paid the most. If they're just focusing on the heart or just focusing on the brain, they're typically going to be paid more than a general physician, right? That's for us. We understand the power of focus and specialization. It's just easier as well for the trading teams to be able to just know the Euro economy and know the US economy, and just understanding just those two economies being the main focus. It makes it a lot easier for us to be able to get in positions and out of positions as well. So
and I see that there's, like, I'm going to exaggerate, a zillion trades every day, where and with some of the others, they've gone weeks without a trade, and the other ones are many fewer. But the pattern is clear, and it's that you guys are doing, and it's working, and it seems sustainable to me in my gut. Not that I'm expert. I read things fairly well most of the time, although some people think I don't.
Right.
My partner thinks I'm nuts for doing things like this.
I heard an expression that smart people can play dumb, but dumb people can't play smart. So that's funny.
My partner's very smart, but she's a lot more conservative when it comes to her investments than I am. I as I've said, I've dabbled in a lot of different alternative investments. And if she were to have lost money because something went under, that would, like, kill her internally. I can just write it off. I remember somebody telling me years ago about Walt Disney and how many bankruptcies he had before he created the Disney company.
He was on the verge, and everybody told him to stop. Everybody was really just like, this is not going to work. This fantasy land that you're trying to create is never going to work. And Disneyland was actually, like, it was not successful as far as, like, the money, like the attendance was great, but their actual revenue was they were in the negative for years. And then correct me if I'm wrong, but it took almost like a decade in order for it to, like, start to be profitable. And he had to continue.
I don't know the answer to that, but I think it was even before he did that he had other businesses that went under, that actually did go under, and he just kept trying.
He was a believer, a big believer. For you, you got these 3 companies that you kind of have side-by-side comparisons to. What do you feel like, in your opinion, actually makes ATN different?
Number one, I can see the results, and I can follow what's happening just by looking at the daily trade things, that, like, so many trades, so many little win, a lot of singles that score about 20 runs a game is what I look at it. And with the other ones, the trades themselves are fewer and not as successful so far. And maybe there'll be big wins with them at some point, and hopefully there will be. There haven't been. I've never gone under my initial investments, so I could say that about all 3 of them. But you guys are right about where you said you would be in terms of returns. They haven't been. Although their customer service generally in both of them has been pretty good, yours is the best. I love you guys.
I know, and we appreciate that feedback. And just to, like, kind of be able to get an illustration here, if we're at, give or take, about 100% of what you expected in terms of return, what percentage would you say that they are at in terms of what they had mentioned to you on those calls? And 3 months in, where would you say percentage-wise that they would?
I'd say about 75 to 80.
80, they'd be at 80% to
75 in terms of the service and stuff. The returns aren't there, but again, I'm the optimist generally, so I'm choosing to give them C pluses rather than failing grades.
And I just meant in terms of their actual, like, results, because
the results are bad.
Well, here's what I know, and I'll say this and then I'll let you answer. What I know is if we had great customer service and bad results, then some people would be okay. They'd be patient like you are, but other people would be spitting angry. They would not be happy. This is not what I paid for. If you had good results and bad customer service, more people would be happy, but there would still be the people like, hey, I got this question, I've got this and that. But if you have both, then you're really doing something. So
of course,
specifically speaking about the results that you were told at the beginning of the 3-month process versus what you're at now, what percentage to goal would you say that they're at?
Well, they're way below goal in terms of what they say the results. They're like 8 to 12%. Both of them would say 8 to 12% a month, and they're nowhere close to that. I'm just happy that they haven't lost any money.
Yeah, so, which is definitely great, and that's the job.
That gives you a 50 on my mind.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you start. Okay, I understand, and you are a glass half full person, Tom. I love that. So
again, though, I'm hopeful still that I took statistics classes in college, and there are Z-scores and T-scores. Sure. I don't know. Z-scores are larger samples and T-scores are smaller samples. Yeah. The sample size is too small to judge at this stage.
Yeah, understood. That's all we have right now. A T-score is better than a no score, right? It's better than something, but obviously a Z-score is better than a T. We understand the more data points that you have, the better and more accurate the data is 100%. So, and for you, moving kind of aside from other individuals, for us, how quickly did you actually start seeing passive income after you got started?
With you, it probably took a week or two before the first returns happened.
Yeah.
But once they did happen, they seemed to be happening every day, a little bit a day. I don't know why it took a little time to start up. But I remember some of your videos, they said, yeah, the next day I had this, returns or whatever. But I didn't see that. It's probably a week. I don't remember exactly, but I want to say about a week before that started.
Yeah. I mean, and it's something that we do know that it typically within 7 days is what we see typically. There are, like you mentioned, there are people that saw returns kind of like within 24 hours. There's people within a few days, and then there's people with like within a week or so. So that makes sense. And so where would you rank ATN compared to the other ventures you've tried with the T-score where we're at right now? Where would you?
Yeah, you guys are the best. You could put me on the list of people said you guys are the best out of the three, without a doubt. I can't say that I've had results with any of my passive investments that have, after a couple of months, surpassed what you guys have done. There was one that I have a promissory note that's paying me 17% a year.
Okay.
So they were making payments on that promissory note like clockwork, first of every month. Just got an email last week. They're converting it into equity and they're going to restructure, et cetera. So more to follow on that. But I would have said that they were a close second until then. But they're being totally open about it, transparent about everything. So I'm not overly concerned at this point. They're just, some of the investments they've made are being slow in giving them returns. So they have to stop. And they have every right to do that as part of the contract. So it's not like they're breaching anything, but they're being very transparent about it. But I would say right now, as of right now, after 3 months, I can't think of anyone that has fulfilled their promises as well as you guys have.
I love that. And for you, I know it took a week, but how passive has everything been with us after the onboarding phase?
Completely. I mean, there's nothing I need to do. Well, as I said, I'm anal. So when I want to go into the PAM account and for one reason or another, the login's not working, once in a while it's down, the system's down. So I'd send a note on Slack and within minutes, David was saying, well, you should do this or that. And I said, well, I did do this or that. And then he tried to get in and he couldn't. So he said, yeah, the system's down, just give it a little time, whatever. And then he sent me a note when he saw it was up, and it was up. Yeah. So little, but there's nothing I've had to do since it's been set up other than watch the performance. That's it, really. I mean, with the other ones, there's no PAM account there. I had to set up now I can't even remember what it's called, for $100 a year.
Oh, you mean like a VPS?
A VPS. So I had to set up a VPS to have for those so that they could run on the VPS instead of my own computer in case my own computer went down, et cetera. Once in a while, I've had some issues with the VPS, with their customer service, that I've been able to get that back up reasonably quickly. They're not as fast as you guys typically are in responding, but they always respond.
How passive for the other two options would it be? I know you have to adjust the VPS every now and again, but do you have to kind of tinker with things every now and again as well? Or
usually not. I mean, the only time I thought I might have to was when the VPS itself said that they were shutting down for maintenance, but it ended up restarting itself anyway. So when I'm in my office during the week where I am now, I'll always have the VPS open, and like 65 times a day, I'll look at it just for the hell of it, just to see what's happening, as well as the PAM account. I just log in like a few times, 4 or 5 times at least a day, just to check it out, see what's happening. I hope I stop doing that, but I'm an anal person.
Your words, your words.
I know, of course.
And so, Tom, for you, like, I know that you already feel strongly about this enough to where you want to have your daughters have accounts as well. But considering things continue on in the same trajectory that they are, how likely are you to recommend us outside of the family?
I could, and I will. I just can't mention it to my partner because
Yeah,
that's why I'm glad she's away this week. So that's why it's
yeah.
easy for me to have these calls. I'd rather have them when she's not here. So I haven't yet. I wanted to let it like ride for a while longer, but I would anticipate that I will do that over time for sure.
No, that makes sense. And of course, as well, remember who we are looking for. We're looking for like-minded individuals. I am typically a glass half full individual myself, although I can have some doubts and have some realism as well. But just the overly cautious and overly conservative people, this kind of space doesn't really mesh too well. The people that, again, it's risk capital, right? So if somebody who had, like you said, your business partner, if she experienced any type of a loss, she wouldn't know what to do with herself, right? That's kind of like the personality that we don't necessarily want to be.
I'm with you.
You can understand that. And so, the last thing is for people that have been burned in the past, we have probably 75% of our clients, myself included, have been burned, yourself included in the past, have been experienced things that are not as what they seemed, or they were just fraudulent or whatever. But what would you maybe say to some people who are a bit skeptical because they've been burned in the past, but they do have some risk capital and they're not too risk averse in that respect?
In my mind, all you need is one to be good. I have faith in my own ability to analyze, even if I'm not always right. Give it a shot. I'm probably saying the same things that I heard on some of those other testimonials that you show on your website. But I'll just explain what my experience has been completely and let them decide for themselves. But the whole Forex thing, I had never even gone down any sort of road before watching your thing. And I thought it was going to be crypto at first. And when I learned it was Forex and spoke with Gary and he explained the whole thing, I was convinced it made sense, especially with the oversight. That's the other thing you guys have over the others. Their bots they don't oversee the bots or change anything. It's the bots that make every decision, where you guys have the trader that's overseeing it and sometimes, I guess, overruling the bots as needed.
And when you say as needed, it's needed about 20+% of the time. It's very necessary. That is a unique advantage that we do have as far as who's driving the boat, right? And everything. And that's something that is exciting for us. And it seems like every single month we have a new person or new team that is reaching out to us because they see our success. They know we've been able to build something special here and they want to be a part of it because they're incentivized too. There's a 20% profit split. So they can see, wow, you guys have a network, a community of people that we can tap into and use our God-given ability to be able to perform and all of that. So that's been probably my favorite thing that I didn't necessarily account for, but you can understand you being in your space for 30 to 23 years in your specific business now.
40 years in the industry.
Almost 40 years in the industry. What compound effect happens? Things that were like unintended consequences to your betterment, to your business's betterment, with referrals, with publicity, with goodwill, with all these people.
I'll tell you a particular story. As I said, for whatever reason, I had a good reputation in the industry. I went to a lot of hospital association meetings, talked to people. Some of the stuff that I'm expert in is pretty complex. People kick the tires about stuff all the time. Somebody who was working for another small firm and left that small firm, it was recommended to him to reach out to me to see if we wanted to partner with him because he was expert in a certain small piece that could mean millions of dollars to hospitals. And he came and he called me and we met with him. And long story short, in 2011, we started this relationship and we're still going strong where we're able to, and it's a really technical thing that we're experts in. And I used to believe we knew this particular thing as well or better than anybody until I met him. He identifies opportunities. We sell those opportunities and we brainstorm together how to approach the projects, and he executes the projects that bring millions of dollars sometimes to our clients. And we're still so that is a huge portion of our business. It's still going.
a referral that can end up being a 13-year business partner,
Yeah.
to where you have a strength or a perceived strength, and then now you're even stronger in that area. That's amazing. Your reputation in business is everything, and this is why, again, I have these specific conversations to be able to be face to face with my clients, whether good, bad, and different. I want to be able to see you and know that I'm here, and I know that your understanding of kind of where we're at in business.
And I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. It's I can imagine how busy you are with this business, and I'm sure it's tremendously successful. I'm counting on it being tremendously successful forever. It's throughout my kids' lives. You're closer to my kids' age than to my age. Yeah. My kids were born in 94 and 98.
Yeah, me at 91, so just a few years older than your oldest. And so yeah,
God bless, man. It takes a lot of guts to do what you've done. Yeah. But particularly at that age.
I appreciate you recognizing it, because it doesn't get old to me to have people understand kind of the risks that I've taken.
And I know from personal experience, just going out there, I was 40 in 2001. So I was older than you. I had 17 years of experience and 17 years worth of relationships that I knew I was going to be able to tap into to establish my business. My first client I got after 2 weeks worth of calls. A couple of months later, I got that first really large engagement that convinced Patty, my partner, to join me, and we've been busy ever since. Yeah. 2001. And we keep our business small intentionally, because we're obviously very concerned with the quality, and want to ensure that our quality does not suffer. Yeah. And it's been great. I can't believe it's been so long. I can't believe I'm going to be 63. But now I play tennis every morning before I go to work. And when living on the downside, there's been a lot of death around me over the last couple of years. In recognition of that, I know nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. So my goal is to do what I love every day of my life until I can't.
Well, that should be everybody's goal, because you never know. Your life could be cut short. Life could be cut short at any time. So that's what you have to do, right? Live every day as if it could be your last. So yeah.
Terrific. All right. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. It's great to meet you. Great to speak to you about you. And we'll be talking soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Aaron.
So every 30 days, I talk one-on-one with my clients, and that was their experience. If you want to learn more on how we help our clients earn 60% or more per year, then click the link in the description below.